Hello, this is Heather. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making a few more fall crafts before we get switched to the Christmas holiday crafts. This is going to be a denim pocket floral craft, and we're going to use a pocket off of a pair of jeans that we no longer use and put it as a little pouch for some florals. So I'm going to start with making a little palette to put the pocket on. So I'm using these paint stir sticks, and I order them from Amazon. I get 100 of them for $8. So I am using those, putting the handles all going the same direction. And then I'm going to use some cut down paint sticks on the back side so that it holds them all in place. And they are pretty easy to cut with a sharp pair of scissors. At least the kind I have is. So I'm going to use a little of this wood glue that I get from Dollar Tree, and I'm also going to use a little hot glue to hold it in place temporarily. And I've got one glued, and you can see how I just make sure each of the paint sticks has a piece of wood on it to hold it in place. After I get that all done, I'm going to go in and paint a light coat on all of the palette pieces. Now, I use this paint. It's a household paint. It's an oops jar, which means somebody got the wrong little sample. And it's just small little samples of paint they have at Home Depot. And this is just like a gray beige color. And like I said, I'm not doing a real heavy coat. I'm leaving it a little bit distressed looking. Most of it's going to be covered. So I just want to make sure it looks a little distressed around the edges. Now, I decided to take a ribbon, and I got this at Dollar Tree. It's got lace on the edges, and I just cut it to fit across the palette, and I'm putting some hot glue on it to hold it down in place. And that's going to cover where the handles all are on the paint sticks. Then I'm going to take the denim pocket. Now, I did leave it as a pocket, so the back side of the pocket is still going to be attached when you cut out your pocket. And then I'm just gluing the back of that with some Aleene's tacky glue. And then I'm taking a piece of this orange and white baker's twine, and I am putting on these small beads. I ended up ordering some from Amazon, and they had all different sizes in them, and I just never have used the little small beads for anything yet, and I'm getting an abundance of them. So I started stringing those on this baker's twine. Now, you can use any size of wooden beads that you'd like, but these are the ones that I had on hand. After that, I'll glue the beads onto the back so that it makes a hanger. And then I'm going to start tucking the florals into the jean pocket. I've got some sunflowers that I got actually for free that were on the side of the road in a box. And then I got a lot of the other florals I think all the other florals at Dollar Tree. So I'm just kind of sticking them in and trying to make it look a little fallish, adding in a little greenery. And I just think this turned out so cute. And when I get it up on my wall, it looks so good, and I can switch the flowers out for the different seasons if you want. And here's how it came out. Our next craft is going to be this little jute pumpkin, and we're going to start with a piece of cardboard, and I'm using just a canister I have to trace around it because it's the size that I'd like. You can make yours bigger, smaller, whatever size you like. It does take a while to twist around all the ribbon if you want to keep that in mind. Then I'm just starting with some hot glue in the center, and I'm going to work my way around, just twisting the cardboard and attaching the jute. Now I get this jute at Dollar Tree, so it's very affordable. It seems like they last forever. And I'm just going to keep going around like this. And I wanted to take this time to thank all my subscribers, and thank you for the likes and the comments. I love getting to know you all. If you haven't subscribed and you're liking what you see, please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. And it really does help when people like my posts or when they leave me a comment. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And thanks so much for everything. So here I'm going to just wrap a little more around this pumpkin, and I do end up getting it a little bit crooked when I started, which is perfectly fine. You can see one side has more cardboard showing than the other, and that's okay because we can just cut it off when we're done. So I just keep going as far as I can and as close to the edge as I can. I was a little disappointed because some of the glue did come through. I debated on whether to use super glue or the glue gun, and I decided the glue gun wouldn't be as messy as far as on my fingers. But I wish I would have used my smaller glue gun just so I wouldn't have had such big globs of glue coming out. So you might want to keep that in mind, because when you see it, you'll be able to tell a little bit. You can see some of the glue. It's not terrible, but I think it would have been better with a small glue gun. So here I'm getting to the end, and I just go as far as I can and then clip it off. And then I can take my scissors and go back in and just cut around the cardboard that was left. Now you can make yours a round shape, you can make it a pumpkin shape, you can make it any shape that you want. I just did round because it looked like something different that I didn't have anything similar to that I've already made this fall. Now I'm just going to put a little orange bow on it, and a stick for the, I always want to say handle, but a stick for the stem. There we go. I'm adding just a little greenery for the leaf. And that's all there is to it. So a little time consuming, but is really easy, and about anybody can do it. So as long as you're old enough to use a glue gun, you should be able to do this craft. Our third craft is going to be this wood pumpkin that's going to kind of be 3D. It's going to involve 3 pieces of wood that are all the same size and 1 large Jenga block. So if you want to make smaller pieces of wood, you can, and you could probably use one of the tumbling tower blocks that Dollar Tree has that are like Jenga blocks. you know, whatever sizes work best. I'm a crafter that makes do with what I have and in my stash, so whatever works best for you from your stash, then that's what you should go for. I'm just painting a little bit on the stem, doing some light brown and then a little brown through it. And I do end up going in and wiping some of that off. And now my 3 blocks of wood that were cut were already this dark brown. And I painted the one on the front a light beige color, very roughly painted. I didn't want to make it too heavy because you know me, I wanted it kind of rustic and distressed looking. So you can see me gluing on the stem, and then I'm taking wood glue and hot glue and gluing on each of the 2 sides. Now you can see how I'm layering it so that middle one pops out in the front. And you just want to make sure that the bottom all lines up evenly because that'll be how we stand it up. And then I've got a leaf I'm putting on for some greenery, and then I added a little bow. That was just with some baker's twine, and I just did a little double bow. And that's all there is to it. And our last one on this video series is going to be fall coasters. I actually needed some for one of my tables, and so I decided to make some pretty ones for fall. I'm using these 4x4 inch tiles that are ceramic, and I got them at the Habitat for Humanity store. Very inexpensive, like pennies a piece. I have a whole box of them actually. I had more than I know what to do with. And so I'm using those, and I found some printables on Creative Fabrica, and I can put that down in the links in the description box because it's a great graphics website. They have fonts and graphics and illustrations and clip art about anything you can imagine. And I found this watercolor series that an artist had on there, and so I'm printing them out. Now they do have a monthly membership, but if you don't want to subscribe, you can just buy things individually too, and sometimes they have free items daily also. So I'm just getting these all cut down to fit, and I'm going to make them just a bit smaller than the 4x4 inch. I'm just using my paper cutter to get as close as I can. I really like these 4 images too. They all went together, but they were each so different and unique. I had a couple that were got in a little crooked, and I had to straighten them out, so that's all I'm doing here. Then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and my ceramic tile, and I'm just going to put a layer of glue. It doesn't have to be very thick, and I'm just going to kind of pat it down on there, kind of make sure the edges are down. And I'm going to do that with all 4 coasters. And then after you get your layer of Mod Podge on the bottom, you're going to want to let them dry, because that Mod Podge is going to dry up and kind of pull in the edges so that they're not puckering up as badly, and they shouldn't really pucker up at all if you let it dry and you've done just a light coat of the Mod Podge glue. So after I get all of those on, I'm going to go back, and after that bottom coat has dried, I'm doing a top coat. So I'm just doing a light layer, not heavy. And you want to make sure you get the edges of where all the paper comes and meets the tile, so it can form a seal there. And now I am going to put a very light layer on, run my brush over it, and then I'll let that dry. For the backs, I'm going to put felt down so that they can slide without damaging a countertop or a tabletop. I'm just using some white felt, and I used the ruler so I can make sure I got it 4x4, like the size our rulers are, or the size our coasters are. And I'm just cutting that out. What kind of crafts have all of you been working on lately? I don't know if everybody else is in fall mode or not, but today happens to be the first day of fall here when I'm filming this. So happy fall, everyone. I'm going to glue the felt onto the back now. I'm just going to take my Aleene's glue, just the all-purpose glue, and I'm going to make sure I get it around the edges and a little in the middle, and just push it down and let it dry. So it's a simple craft. Really the hardest part is finding the graphic that you want to use for your coaster. You could also decoupage on a napkin, which I've done that before. That works well on the tiles also. You could put on some fall stickers or transfers and put the Mod Podge over that as well. That kind of seals it and keeps it so the liquid from your condensation from your glass or the liquid doesn't damage the coaster. So now you can see how they all four look. I just love all these patterns together. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like what you see, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. We'll see you next time.